punish Russia for invading Ukraine, the West's weapon of choice isn't its military, but sanctions. It's going after the money.
We're coming for you, ill-begotten gains.
The war has shone a light again on the fortunes of a few Russians who use their money to purchase super yachts, mega mansions, and private jets. And these extravagant toys of the super rich are only possible because of Vladimir Putin.
This is what Putin cares about. He cares about his money, and he cares about the oligarchs' money.
Money means power, but we're all taking away the oligarchs' money, be enough to contain Putin's power.
These Russian oligarchs.
Russian oligarch.
Russian oligarchs.
Everyone's saying it at the moment, but what is an oligarch? Boiling it right down, it means an extremely rich person with a lot of power in a country, particularly in Russia, where it's believed the richest 500 people control 40% of all wealth. The collapse of communism in the early 90s sparked a free-for-all. State-owned industries in gas, oil, steel and other sectors were snapped up at a knockdown price, all in the name of breaking free of communism and embracing the free market. In 1995, then President Boris Yeltsin was fighting to stay in power, so he allowed new banks to lend money to his government in exchange for temporary shares in huge state-owned companies. These banks were run by a small group of wealthy Russians. It's widely accepted that they knew that the government would never be able to pay back the loans, and instead, they keep a majority stake of the companies. Like Mikhail Khodorkovsky, remember that name by the way, he took majority control of oil and gas company Yukos for just $310 million, when it's really worth an estimated $5 billion. And so the Russian era of the oligarchs was born. Huge parts of Russia's economy were dished out in deals like this, leading to accusations of widespread corruption. Those involved have always claimed they were legitimate business deals. Putin, basically an unknown in Russian politics at this time, was helped by powerful and wealthy men to become Russia's new leader, but he soon made sure that they knew who was really in charge. He met with the oligarchs in the first few months after he became president. The offer was simple: you can keep your money, but stay out of my way. Some went along with the plan, but others left Russia with as much as they could take with them. Khodorkovsky stayed in Russia, and he defied Putin by financing political parties and candidates opposed to the new president. In 2003, Khodorkovsky was arrested for fraud and tax evasion. It was seen as Putin punishing a political rival, and he was jailed for 10 years. But some would argue he was lucky, given the number of mysterious deaths and assassination attempts of Putin's opponents. The oligarchs who didn't follow Putin's rules were replaced. Let's take Igor Sechin and Alexei Miller. They might not be the most familiar names, but they run two of the biggest energy companies in the world, Rosneft and Gazprom. 30 years ago, they were working in the same office as Putin when he was just the deputy mayor of St. Petersburg. Their careers have followed Putin all the way to top jobs in politics and state energy, and now both men earn tens of millions of dollars every year. But what do these oligarchs spend their billions on? Massive mansions in cities around the world, maybe a sports team, but the real status symbol is the super yacht. This one actually belonged to Sechin. It's worth $120 million. Peanuts compared to Andrei Melnichenko's $585 million super yacht. Both have now been seized by French and Italian authorities. Penalties imposed on Russia after it invaded Crimea in 2014 didn't stop Putin, but the West says this time around, the sanctions are on a different level.
I've compiled a hit list of oligarchs, and there will be nowhere to hide.
The idea is that by targeting his friends' assets, Putin will rethink his military plans in Ukraine.
This is what Putin cares about. He cares about his money, and he cares about the oligarchs' money. Sanction them, sanction him.
But is going after the oligarchs' money enough?
In many cases, they go way back with him, sometimes all the way back to the KGB. So if our game is to try to use pressure to force a change of leadership in Russia, it's hard to see how that works, because these guys must surely know that if they help to take Putin down, they're likely to go down with him.
Targeting his friends might not be enough to stop Putin's invasion, so the West is also using crippling sanctions on the rest of Russia's economy. Food is becoming more expensive, and supplies of medicine are harder to get hold of. And there are reports that restricting access to technology is forcing Russian industries to shut down, including factories making its military hardware. The West hopes that undermining Putin's allies and pushing the Russian economy to the point of collapse will force a change of strategy. But no one knows what's going on inside the mind of Putin, and what it will take for him to stop the war in Ukraine.